Alright, guys, welcome to my first ever Pats analysis. I have not done one of these yet, but I've always wanted to, so let's get into week one. There's a 21-11 win over Miami, and we looked really good. The era of Cam Newton has begun now that Brady is gone. And let's talk about Cam Newton. I've always had my doubts about him, but I was like, okay, well, we'll give it a chance. And I'm glad that I've given it a chance because he went 15-19 for a little over 150 yards, but he ran for 75 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That is unheard of in Patriots country. And he looked like MVP 2015 Cam. Another positive, let's talk about the return of the boogeymen. After people such as Patrick Chung and Dante Hightower opted out for the season, we didn't know how our defense was going to be. So, well, I'm glad to say we came away with 3 turnovers, 3 picks, one from Stephon Gilmore, one from J.C. Jackson, and one from the newly acquired Adrian Phillips from the Chargers. I always thought he was a good pickup from the start, and he looked great. We got a few sacks, and we held him to 11 points and came up when it mattered. Another positive, Julian Edelman, as always. He had 5 catches, about 60 yards, somewhere in there. He's shown his age a little bit, but I think that he's still going to be Cam's favorite receiver for now. We'll get to that later. So we'll talk about some improvements that are needed. I only have a few. It's going to be protecting the ball a little bit more. We did have that almost costly N'Keal Harry turnover right at the goal line. If we fix stuff like that and just a few better catches, we need to stop dropping some easier passes. And the offensive line could use a little work, but for the most part, it was a much better offensive line than toward the end of last year. I was glad to see Cam was protected most of the time, but it also helps that we have a mobile quarterback now. Speaking of, as I was talking about earlier, we kind of need an extra receiver. We have about 4 or 5 on the roster, and outside of Edelman, they're kind of smaller tier. We need another star to help Cam out. So recently, there have been talks of OBJ or Allen Robinson II coming to New England from either the Browns or the Bears. And I've never been the biggest OBJ fan, but I think he'd be a great asset to the offense. I'm more of a fan of Allen Robinson as he's more of a team player, and I think he has great upside with a coach like Bill and Cam throwing to him. And before I get into my predictions for week 2, where we play against Seattle on the road next week, we need to talk about Bill Belichick's mother. She passed away this week and was one of his greatest inspirations, so we need to win this week for her, and I think it'll be a very emotional game Sunday. So my predictions for this week's game against Seattle, my realistic prediction is about 31-27 Seattle. What I'd like to see is a 24-21 Pats win. As long as the defense shows up, Cam looks good. We don't have to deal with the crowd noise like usual, so that gives me a little more hope. If we just fix those small errors, I think we have a good shot at winning. This season's looking to be a lot better than after this off season because it was looking a little grim. So anyways, we're on to Seattle. See you guys next week.